That's a cardinal sin in
And
my
then
book. If you haven't seen Fight Club, then there's something wrong.
I just don't think I found the right atmosphere to be able to do it. That's
Right
that's
atmosphere?
just
There
it.
is no such thing as Fight Club, my guy. That's where you got the first rule wrong. Is there is no Fight Club. Spinnis,
Then
are you
explain it
trying
in
a
English.
Duolingo version of a video game by just playing the game in like the language that it was portrayed in? Is that what you're trying to tell the audience right now?
No, no.
This is the Ruckus and The Menace.
Challenge accepted.
Oh no! We suck again!
I'm getting confused. What game are you calling?
I'm calling both games!
It is caught by Kelsey! Touchdown! Kansas City!
There you go. There it is.
There's the winner. Look at that.
Back.
Say what again? Say what again? I dare you. I double dare you,
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 157 of Ruckus and The Menace podcast. Coming at you on a Tuesday night. I am Ruckus, always causing a ruckus.
And I'm Sasquatches the Menace.
Go ahead.
Well, I was gonna kind of ask how you were holding up here before we got into some stuff that I was working on. So I know that a lot of big news in sports and also even video games as we get a little bit in there. But I mean, I'd say for me the biggest things I've been watching, the missus and I together finished up the Great Food Truck Race, and we started the new season of Hell's Kitchen. In case you didn't know, of course, one of Gordon Ramsay's signature shows.
Oh, I know.
On my own, as far as the show, Chad Powers, did you manage to sneak a little bit of a look into this one?
No, but I've seen the advertisements and kind of can just get a glimpse of what it is. Like, there's certain shows where it's just like they kind of spoil too much of it, and you're just like, okay, I kind of like get the gist of how that's gonna end, in a sense. Like, you kind of just guess it in your mind rather than actually watch it.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen the 2 episodes that have aired or that were on Hulu, and the show is not bad. It registers itself as a comedy, but it doesn't seem like the humor has really hit yet, minus Glenn Powell and the fear of his prosthetics that he has to use for Chad Powers coming off, and making sure that his cover isn't blown. But beyond that, I really haven't found the humor yet. It's not quite a Ted Lasso where Sudeikis does a great job of creating where the humor can go.
I think he only really got famous because of Sydney Sweeney, to be honest.
Are you saying that because of Anyone But You?
Perhaps, but also they went viral for a while even after that, and then it was just like, oh, they're not together anymore. So like Glenn Powell just kind of vanished after that. Like, it didn't feel sudden, but you realized it after like 8 months of all that happening.
Wait. You're talking about the same Glenn Powell that also was one of the notable pilots with a call sign in Top Gun Maverick.
Okay, so that proves
He was
my
Hangman
point.
in Top Gun. He was Hangman in Top Gun Maverick.
Well, he was also Hangman in who the hell remembered that Glenn Powell was in Top Gun Maverick, because that was like 2 years ago, my guy. The world moves faster than that.
I understand that, but I was like, how do you not, like...
I didn't remember it, is my point. My point is, I watched it a few times and I was like, yeah, that was pretty cool. Like, I got my fix on Top Gun for now. And then It's kind of like when I it's kind of like when I realized that Chris Pratt was the first baseman in Moneyball, okay? It took me like 8 years to realize that after I realized that he was in Guardians of the Galaxy, so, like, I was naive at the time whenever I watched Moneyball, for the record, and now I'm like, oh yeah, Chris Pratt was a real one in Moneyball. So, I'm sorry, Spennis. I'm just not cool enough.
It's not quite as it's not quite as far of a deep cut. No, if you're talking deep cuts, and I mentioned it I think last week, like in the deep cut, Ryan Gosling in Remember the Titans.
Yeah, he's also a hunk that everyone forgets about too. Let's be honest.
I mean, oh, here's another and I also mentioned this also last week. Donald Faison in Remember the Titans.
Also, that one
Also
random
known-
black guy in The Sopranos that no one talks about ever.
Yeah, but I was saying Donald Faison, also known as Turk from Scrubs.
I love Turk from Scrubs. He's my #1 commercial on T-Mobile when they do the T-Mobile 5G
Yes,
ads.
with Zach Braff, JD and Turk, their just the chemistry between the two, because of that, it's very much second to none. Like, it's second to very few when it comes to that side of it. I mean, and there are some actor duos that really make sense. And there are some that just don't.
Yeah.
But we will get into male actors and who's some of our favorites here in just a little bit as we get into our power rankings. But I have been playing a particular game. I got my hands on Ghost of Yote. Yes, a lot of backlash went into it politically. Like a lot of like PR nightmare going into it. Okay. Hear me out. I am not playing in English as far as the dialogue. I am testing something, and I think it actually has proven to be more effective for me in getting into the game.
Spennis, are you
playing
trying
in
a
English.
Duolingo version of a video game by just playing the game in like the language that it was portrayed in? Is that what you're trying to tell the audience right now?
No. The English voice acting, I listened to some of it on YouTube and compared it to how I've been playing it with the Japanese voice actors. And yes, I'm playing the Japanese voice actors with English subtitles. The Japanese voice actors for the game do a much better job of delivering the lines and not making it sound annoying.
Yeah, it's pretty easy to make things annoying with English to Japanese subtitle conversion. I can see that.
But it's a game that is based in the United States that pays a lot to the setting of Japan, and actually playing the game in Japanese has upped the immersion factor and helped me stomach some of the things with experience that if I was going to be listening to Eric Ishii's voice, that is sounding more like nails on chalkboard. No thanks. I'm not buying. I bought the game, but I did it in a way with the Japanese voice actors that makes so much more sense. And speaking of actors, we now will get to talk about some of our favorite male movie actors.
Yes, sir.
And in no particular order when it comes to that. Some ones we also considered, but did not make our 5. We both considered Will Smith and Uncle Jack Nicholson. Ruckus, who were some that you considered that did not make it?
Yes. Sorry, I was doing my inner Jack Nicholson.
You
I could.
can't handle the truth.
No. You didn't do that justice. You Oh, the truth! Sorry, headphone users in advance, even though that wasn't in advance. Also considered Keanu Reeves with John Wick, and I didn't really watch The Matrix, but I got more into John Wick because it's just dumb and funny.
Reeves was good in The Matrix.
He was
I would've said if
amazing,
I
but
was
I just didn't
if
do
I
it
was really
justice.
looking at The Matrix, if I was really looking at The Matrix, I would have probably considered Fishburne more than I would have Reeves, and that's just simply because of also Boys in the Hood.
You also realize I was gonna say I didn't really um view the Matrix as much as I probably should have, so that's why I was saying like.
Yeah.
Anyways,
Yeah, and that's why I said I was like, okay, I didn't consider Reeves as much, but I would have looked if I
it's
was looking at the same movie, I would have looked at a different actor.
it's kind of like viewing Bruce Willis over like another action hero that could have been better than Bruce Willis, or like someone that was just more significant, even though Bruce Willis is an amazing actor and suffers from some disease. But anyways, so I had Keanu Reeves. Next, I have Eddie Murphy. That's pretty self-explanatory. My favorite scene is him with the welfare burger in SNL, but also he did a very good job doing I think it was Once Upon a Time in America with Wesley. Well, no. It was
He did Coming to
Arsenio Hall, I think. Yeah, Arsenio and him Coming to America. Like
Coming
you
to
were just about to
America,
correct me with. Thank you. Thank you for the alley-oop.
Dr. Doolittle.
Cillian Murphy was another consideration I had from Peaky Blinders, but also he was in Oppenheimer. I just think he's a new up-and-coming actor. He's also been in some other projects with Christopher Nolan for the Dark Knight series and the Dunkirk series. Or not really Dunkirk series, but just like his works in general were pretty good. But here we go. I'm gonna rattle these off real quick. From bottom to top. Number 5. You ready?
Yeah.
Bob Odenkirk, aka Better Call Saul actor, and the guy that did Nobody, which was also a from the director of John Wick. Bob Odenkirk. He was also like one of the lawyer set pieces in Incredibles 2. He's been in a lot of other films, but mainly he's known for Better Call Saul, and he does a hell of a job with that, and also the Breaking Bad series. Number 4, I have Heath Ledger because Heath Ledger died too soon for people to actually understand what he meant to the movie industry and just TV show, just really any acting gig that he could have gotten. After The Dark Knight, he went and OD'd, but he was trying to get into character in a sense, but also was suffering some mental issues at the time. But if he were to battle that and get through it, which would be a long shot, I think there probably would have been more opportunities, but you never know what that person was going through. And I don't mess with mental illness, but if anything, I wish Heath Ledger and his family the best, but also imagine just what he could have been in your mind. Other than that, so that was my kind of feels bad pick, but number 3, I have Samuel Jackson, because obviously the intro for Ruckus and The Menace is near the end. It's the Pulp Fiction quote where he goes, "Say what again? Say what again? A double W, mother!" And then it gets censored because I decided to be clever like that. Number 2, I picked Arnold Schwarzenegger because no, get to the chopper, no, no, no. It's not the tumor. All right, that's my last
Kindergarten
one.
Cop, Kindergarten
Um,
Cop,
so
Terminator,
yeah,
Jingle All the Way.
he got me. So I mainly vibed with Arnold through Terminator. Kindergarten Cop was my first interaction with Arnold, and then when he like there was Jingle All the Way as well. There was also
I
some
think he was
other
in the
movie.
original Total
I
Recall.
never watched
I
Total
think he did
Recall, but
Predator.
I
He did
also I've
Predator.
seen Predator, but Arnold for me it was when he was on the Expendables crew and he was just kicking ass and taking names. Like it just didn't matter anymore. But you know what does matter? The best for last, Al Pacino. As I mainly have him for his roles in The Heat. He was also in Any Given Sunday, which he does a huge role in both of those. My favorite is when he just like blurts stuff out. So like I think it was in The Heat. He just all of a sudden just says he has a gross and just says it with so much emphasis, and I'm just like okay, whatever. Move along to Al Pacino. Like he has like those senior moments, but also just like those just funny it just happened moments. Like in Any Given Sunday, I remember showing you a clip where it was like my thoughts on what the Raiders were like before the start of this season and like other things. But in general, Al Pacino is just a classic actor. Like my parents really looked up to Al Pacino in their years, I'm sure. Kind of like
Wow, and
actors like that.
he
And
went through all that without mentioning one of his most iconic roles.
The Godfather,
It wasn't The
Scarface,
Godfather. It was Scarface, yep.
and the Yayo. Yayo is Colombian cocaine for
Yeah,
those that
yeah.
didn't watch the Scarface
I
movie.
yeah, I caught where you were going with that.
Say hello to my little friend, Spanish.
So, my 3 that I considered. I had Chris Pratt, notably some voice acting stuff with things like the Lego movie and the Super Mario Brothers,
Mm-hmm.
but also alongside of that, he also had Star-Lord and Guardians of the Galaxy. He did have a decent movie run with Jurassic World. There was a point where it seemed like Chris Pratt wasn't everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah. The second one I had was Brad Pitt, where really there were 3 movies I highly considered here. I've yet to see one, but I know I've seen the other 2, which definitely qualified.
That's a cardinal sin in
And
my book.
then
If you haven't seen Fight Club, then there's something wrong.
I just don't think I found the right atmosphere to be able to do it. That's
Right
just
atmosphere.
isn't
There
fucking.
is no such thing as Fight Club, my guy. That's where you got the first rule wrong. Is there is no Fight Club. Someone's gonna sick you
Well,
later, but it's
Ruckus.
not gonna be me.
Well, Ruckus, you kind of are breaking the first rule.
You broke it first.
I didn't. Well, I didn't mention it explicitly on the episode, so I
Well,
did.
we both
I
broke
did
it.
for
So
the
screw.
record.
We both broke it. You're gonna die with me on this hill.
But the last one that I considered, I kind of thought of this. The last possible
I'm
second.
calling both games.
And you're gonna and don't be surprised if you hear me say this word and have it be involved, and I'm pretty sure you know which actor I'm talking about when I say it. Wilson.
Oh, shut your face, Tom Hanks. No thanks, Tom Hanks.
Tom Hanks. Yep. I mean, voice acting, of course, with from Toy Story with Woody. But then he's also had Forrest Gump and so many other notable movies. I mean, Castaway. Castaway, an incredibly underrated film, too. But my five, I'm going in no particular order, and I'm probably going to start from the top down in this case. Remember the Titans wise for Denzel Washington. Then I went Tom Cruise, mostly for roles in Top Gun, A Few
And,
Good Men,
and Mission Impossible, because
Mission
no one
Impossible.
no one says more good things enough than what Spence has said for Mission Impossible. Do do do
Oh,
do
oh
do
yeah.
do 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 do.
But then Tom Cruise has also done stuff like The Color of Money. Color of Money, I think Far and Away.
Tropic Thunder.
So many. Yeah, he was. Yeah, he actually was in Tropic Thunder. The next one I have is Chris Evans, of course, Captain America himself. But then, other
Fantastic
movies he's
Four
also done.
character.
I mean, he was Human Torch. He was the original Human Torch.
Mm-hmm.
Then on top of that, he's done. He was Ransom and Knives Out, which was also really solidly done. And I think his notable like person that on the opposite side that I think he pairs well with is Ana de Armas.
Yes, sir. That's my celebrity crush.
Number 4 for me, the fourth one down the line, I went with Jack Black. And thinking of all the ways you could just work with the word peaches. Jack Black is
A literal
probably one of
peach,
the. Well, I mean, I'm talking like his whole like song he did in the Super Mario Brothers movie.
which I totally didn't think about
Yeah.
till now.
Yeah, that's why I said peaches. But then also how he was able to take Minecraft and play Steve and have it make sense and Chicken Jockey and make that a viral quote of the year.
More like a viral catastrophe if you talk about the million, or not really millions, but thousands of theater workers that had to clean up their uh, theaters because of the people that they had to deal with that were throwing their popcorn and stuff around. The agony, the
Oh.
catastrophe.
But then the last and certainly not least, Gone Too Soon, but there were two notable films that I had for this that make it important for Chadwick Boseman, notably for Black Panther, but also as playing Jackie Robinson in 42.
Rest in peace.
Yeah, and that also kind of like left me to also think of Harrison Ford as a consideration as well, but I didn't have enough with Harrison Ford other than obviously his three iconic roles of Branch Rickey, Han Solo, and Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But now we move on to our Eastwood segment of the good, the bad, and the ugly.
All right. What is good this week?
Okay. So, for the good this week, we have that the Jays, the Toronto Blue Jays, are playing very well in the postseason. In the first two games of their division series against the Yankees, they had scored 23 runs. And granted, they are at 8, they're now trailing the Yankees 8-6 right now. But the Yankees I mean, the Yankees are now finally starting to come around, but it seemed like for the first 2.5 games of this, that the Blue Jays were just curb stomping them.
I
Like, just
mean, for
taking them to
sure.
the woodshed and just wham, wham, wham,
That's
wham.
why you don't mess with Sasquatch, my guy, because he lives all the way in Canada instead of the States, because he knows better.
Oh, you're talking big. Oh, yeah, Sasquatch in this case being Bigfoot. I
Not
accidentally was
Pasquatch,
thinking.
not Pasquatch. See, there's a difference. There's
No, you said Sasquatch.
I know,
You
but I
said
thought you meant
Sasquatch.
like Pasquatch, because I thought you misinterpreted. That's okay. It's all good. Anyways, what's the bad this week?
No, I was accidentally thinking the abominable snowman in Nepal.
What the hell? Where'd you get that? Where'd you get a Yeti? Where'd you
the
get a Yeti from a goddamn Sasquatch? Like, goddamn, those are two different climates, two different biomes. What are you smoking?
But the same type of creature.
Debatable. One's up in the frickin' ice caps, and the other one is just chilling in the forest, just breathing the fresh air. Like,
Okay.
you don't just see you don't see a Sasquatch just like chilling in the ice caps. This isn't Mount Everest, my guy. That's what Yetis are for. Okay, what is downright ugly besides Spennis's crappy take on between Yetis and?
Well, the bad this week was the Phillies losing the rest versus rust battle against the Dodgers. The Dodgers are up 2-0 in this series, and they just look. The Phillies just look like something is missing. But the downright ugly this week goes to none other than the unfortunate.
Can we say that he butt fumbled this opportunity?
Not I wasn't necessarily going to throw anything with a butt fumble because this actually because it kind of involved like Mark Sanchez getting stabbed
by the football or his lawyers.
No, apparently Mark Sanchez decided to have an altercation with a truck driver in Indianapolis over a parking space. And it ended up with it was an inebriated Mark Sanchez versus a 69-year-old with a knife.
Maybe Mark Sanchez should have not flagged his superiority over the other guy that is just one of us and should have chilled out. But also, Mark Sanchez, what are you doing behind the wheel under the influence?
Well,
Jesus Christ, man. You have enough money to get an Uber.
He has three felony charges. Was stabbed I think 3 times. And he was also, and the only reason why he was in Indianapolis in the first place, he was supposed to be the analyst for the Colts Raiders game. They mentioned it on broadcast that Sanchez and going through that, and Brady Quinn replaced him.
But also,
I didn't hear
here's another thing that I just realized for Mark Sanchez. Why didn't anyone give him like extra security? Did they just assume he would be fine where he decided to go for his hotel or whatever? Because I know it's probably not cheap, but at the same time, like, why is Mark Sanchez in this situation? Was it mainly due to it? In the situation at hand, was it due to his alcoholism or other beings? Because I thought I heard something about how he was under the influence or something, but maybe I'm just imagining that.
Yeah, it was. I believe that was also said. But I would say, all that aside, the situation for Mark Sanchez and also the lawsuits that come about also with the person involved and Fox kind of make this a rather ugly situation. But it was uglier than it being where our stud and dud of the week are. And I am quickly going to mention my stud and dud here, of my stud being Guardians outfielder and native of where I'm at in the great state of West V, Chase DeLauder, for making his MLB debut during the wild card series against the Detroit Tigers. The Guardians may be sitting at home for the postseason now because they lost that series, but at least we know that probably when it comes around April next year, DeLauder could very well be making Chase DeLauder could be making his way to the major leagues, where he may play the full season up there.
I thought honestly he would come up like earlier this summer, but maybe that was just
Yeah.
pure optimism.
Well, but that also could have been some of these call-ups that go on are more so just matters of timing.
Yeah.
When you really consider it. But then my dud goes to Cowboys owner Jerry Jones. Yes, if you want to talk about an accident waiting to happen, it was none other than an obscene gesture during the Jets-Cowboys game, and Jerry Jones getting fined $250,000. Ruckus, take it away.
So my stud for this week is Vladdy Jr. hitting a grand slam against the Yankees in Game 2 of the ALDS. Mainly, it's a middle finger to the Yankees because they shouldn't have gotten this far to begin with, because Boston had more potential than the Yankees ever did the whole season. Just saying. Anyways, what really actually grinds my gears today is, so, you know how last time LeBron said he was going to have his decision and it was going to air publicly on television and it was going to be a big deal and no one else was ever going to try to do this as dramatically as LeBron, and it was like, I will take my talents to South Beach, and that was pretty much it. He could have just, said it and people would have probably had the same reaction of, oh my god! This actually happened? Oh my... No! No, that's not how that happened. Instead, it was, he made it super dramatic, and then the Cavs fans that adored LeBron James forever hated him, and were like, man, I really just want to burn your jersey for some reason, even though I probably spent like 40 or 60 bucks at the time to get that jersey, and now I just really hate you with all my life. That's how I felt about this second decision with LeBron James, and this was his dumbest decision, which was, you know what? Let's just make people that actually cared about LeBron, which I kind of cared a little bit, but at this point I was just like, okay, this man needs to like slow his roll. His second decision was a Hennessy commercial. That's all it was. It was just him being like, oh, by the way, I sponsor an alcohol brand. And to that I say, get out of here!
Well, here is what I was going to say about it. Anytime that LeBron James and the word decision are in the same sentence, the next instinct that needs to come has to be from the words of Admiral Akbar.
It's a
It's
trap!
a trap!
It's a trap!
It's a trap! All right, Ruckus.
Thank you for adding that.
Now we move into the color commentary, where we're breaking it down.
And yes, it's almost kind of like Wreck-It Ralph, where we're digesting things piece by piece. But you ready for me to get into the nitty-gritty of this breaking it down segment?
Yeah, well, And I think we both have different takes on it because I think we both ended up with two different angles
Okay.
of this because of two different situations.
All right. Cool. So there is this thing, and I'm sure most gamers know about this, especially because it was a decent deal back in the day, but now it is not so much. So Xbox about a week ago now had a meeting with their shareholders and whatnot, and just in general the community, and they decided it was a great idea to increase the price of what Game Pass was. So originally, I believe the original price for Game Pass was about like $13, $14. It was probably even less than that when it started, but currently it is $20 to have Game Pass. But beginning in October, it'll increase to $30. But in
Ruckus,
re sorry, what?
we're in October. We're in October.
I'm just saying historically, my bad. Because in legality, they won't switch the price to $30 until November, because November 4th is the deadline cutoff. Because I got a billing thing that said that it was $20 still, and I was like, "Are you sure?" Because it literally says $30 a month. And to be clear, for me, it wasn't really about the money. It was more about just the fact that I wanted to try those games, but at the same time, like, I could probably just do that by either like getting a cheaper code or finding it in other ways or doing like a monthly sub or a demo. Because like Steam has demos for certain games, but um, I just didn't really utilize Xbox Game Pass as much as I thought I was going to, and for that I was like, okay, that could be some cost savings, and I don't really use the cloud streaming, and I didn't really care that they're going to add Ubisoft Plus Classics, which are just whatever they deem to be a classic game to add to that library for Game Pass, and also some Fortnite stuff. Like, I didn't even give a shit about Fortnite when it first came out. I thought it was dumb, but I played a little bit of it and I was like, okay, that's okay, cool. Like, whatever you're into. But the Game Pass, the whole thing just felt like a lot, and it still is, because not only did they increase it by 50%, the cherry on top is the banner shows up for the new price and everything whenever you boot up the console. So like it's like a never-ending thing of, hey, by the way, this is gonna happen because the shareholders want their money and they don't want people canceling, but people are canceling at a alarming rate to the point where it's canceling the amount of requests from the web server to actually cancel the subscription. But yeah, crazy times.
So, if we want to break down what the announcement was on October 1st, which was just last week, Game Pass Essential is just a simple catalog of games, online console multiplayer, in-game benefits, cloud gaming at $10 a month. At $15 a month, which is premium, all essential benefits plus unlimited cloud gaming for a wider variety of games on more devices and priority access. That's it. Game Pass Ultimate, which was increased to 30, was a library of games on console, PC, and cloud with new games added regularly. Day one access to first party Xbox titles, EA Play and Ubisoft Plus Classics, Fortnite crew membership, in game rewards, and discounts for popular games.
For the
At
record,
$30 a month.
for the record, I did also like that they had the day one exclusives. So like if you let's say, for example, Outer Worlds came out, and you're like, okay, well, I'm not sure about it, but you could pay like the 15 or $20 a month to try that and a few other games. Like, that would probably be worth it to buy those, and that was the incentive for a while. But obviously, if everyone that is canceling that is just like, well, screw that, I'll just pay the games in full rather than going for the $360 a year that it would be to get the $30 a month plan for Game Pass.
But here's the reason why I am slightly unaffected.
Could you have a
I'm
PS5?
not exactly. My Xbox, my Game Pass is only PC. I only have PC Game Pass.
The only reason I did
No.
both Ultimate and that was because I had an Xbox, but at the same time, like, it was only the show, but they went away from Game Pass like a year
They took it
ago.
out. They took it out. Yes. Yeah, they removed it from Game Pass this year. Okay. So, my price hike is only about maybe $4.50 at PC Game Pass at $16.49 a month. Although the price is subject to change.
It seems like
I
they
get
also
EA
restricted the amount
get
of people
EA
to play the day one stuff though too. Like, it just sounds like it's
Well,
just whatever is selected there.
here's what it was. EA Play. I get right out. Riot Games benefits. But I get the vast library of high quality PC games. New games available on their release day. So day ones that come to PC Game Pass are still there.
You know,
The EA Play.
here's the thing. Another thing that would have really grabbed me into the $30 a month is if instead of me paying $20 a month for EA Play Pro, what if they had Ubisoft Connect Plus EA Play Pro? I would have been in for that for the long haul if it was like all in one instead of just like,
Oh, yeah.
you pay $30 a month and then also $20 for this. Like, I was just like, okay, at that point I don't play cloud Xbox and I don't really play very many Xbox titles for me to justify paying $30. But if it was just the one $30 thing instead of 50, then that might have been something else.
The benefits.
That could have been a
I will
huge
say-
gain for Xbox when it came to console wars, if that's even existing still.
The benefits could have been better. But I think it now almost incentivizes people. It almost incentivizes people to go PC to a degree. To get some of the best value.
But even if at the best value, does that mean that like you'll get the best support? Because that's why consoles reigned supreme over PC over these years. Like, you had PC ports that failed because they were trying to go after console players, and then they would try to make a PC port that would probably emulate what a console would do rather than actually doing that. Which is another problem besides just console players and all that. I have nothing against console players now that I realize that realm.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That I've kind of roamed on both realms at the moment. But most of the time it's just a matter for a PC, it's just what you can run. That's about it, because different hardware requires different demands.
Well, it also doesn't help that like when Microsoft Windows Live with 360 didn't help each other either. They advertised it wrong, but also were like, oh, by the way, do you want to play Halo 2 on your 360 or on your PC? Like, well, that's not supported, but we'll throw everything else in there that could be. But anyways,
But it's a very imperfect process. I think that I think the price hike to go up by 50% was a touch excessive? Yes. But
I think
Microsoft
it was more
also
than a touch.
Yeah. I would have understood if they would have raised maybe to 25, but 30, especially for those benefit.
I think I think if anything they should have upped it to like 22 because them saying that they upgraded their servers for cloud streaming is kind of like whenever Call of Duty added more of the exoskeleton abilities and then more advanced Call of Duties that no one asked for. Like, I'm thinking, okay, I don't give a shit about your cloud streaming for Xbox and whatnot because most people use it to like farm things without having to use electricity of their own. There's also people that actually have legitimate reasons for how they can't game with because they can't own hardware or they can't afford to own it or they want an experience that they can't afford to have just in their life.
Or
Um,
even just being, or even more so having a home console, but then a way
right.
to actually kind of access it to remotely while you're on the road.
Yeah, and like, but for that, I'm just like, I don't care. I have a PC, I have an Xbox, but the only reason I got an Xbox is because I can't play MLB The Show on my PC because there's no Windows
Yeah.
version of it. It's just locked to that, and that's what's frustrating about Game Passes is like, you could have done that, but you didn't. But at the same time, like, I also didn't look at other games because I own most of my games. But there are times where you're just like uncertain about one game. But I digress. Let's get into the high heat before we go
Yep,
any
we
further.
are in. Yep, we're into the high heat now, which we are recapping Week 5 of the NFL season. And Ruckus, you have the first game. You have the first game on our recap. But first to note, teams that were on a bye this week: Atlanta Falcons, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Chicago Bears, and the Green Bay Packers. So if you are a fan of those teams, we have no take for you. Our apologies. Ruckus, 49ers Rams, take it away.
You know, it still amazes me how the Niners managed to win games. But the point is that in years past, when most of the teams were down for the count, that usually means it was down. It was a down season for that team. And I feel like for the 49ers, that had been like every other season that they would have it. It was almost kind of like the San Francisco Giants, where it was like every odd season, or like every odd year
It was every
season.
other year. Every other
Yeah.
year. It was actually every even numbered year through the 2010s. Through
But
most
that's
of the
not
20
even like
through
the
the
weird
early
super.
20s.
That's not even the weird superstition. Because the 49ers are suffering from what the Chiefs did last year, and that's all I'm going to say about that. But Patriots and Bills. Patriots,
Well, stop, because we are not at that point in the timeline yet.
my
Remember,
bad.
we're sticking
All
to
right,
timeline continuity.
let's
But
bring it back.
what I am going to say is that I don't like. I'm going to add on to that the 49ers I just have not figured out yet. I have not figured out what is going on with San Francisco to have them be able to succeed this well with Mac Jones quarterbacking. They now can afford to rest Brock Purdy for as much as they need to. And Kyle Shanahan shows once again that he can qualify in the quarterback whisperer club. But digression aside, the first game I'm going to have here is the Texans defeating the Ravens 44-10. Now, what I'm looking at this here is I'm saying that Houston gains momentum heading into their bye week as they are on a bye in week 6. But once they come out of it, their schedule does not get easier. The Ravens have the opposite effect once they get past the Rams in week 6 and their bye week, should Lamar be healthy. And yes, the Ravens do look like there is something, like, something is really broken. But I think for the Ravens, I think we were due for that. But I do not believe that this should translate into John Harbaugh being fired.
About to say, Jim is the
Because
one that's on the Chargers.
yeah, that's why I stopped. That's why I stopped. I checked myself before I went too far.
Yay, Ruckus said something that actually made sense.
Yeah, but that's why I said I checked myself before I went to I knew what I said and I'm like, yeah, I meant John. The next one, Panthers 27, Dolphins 24. I'm gonna say this. I didn't expect that out of Rico Dowdle, but I'm gonna say that both teams are on shaky ground. But the changes that are to be made to improve the Miami Dolphins need to be made more expediently than for the Carolina Panthers. In short, I am a believer that right now I think the Carolina Panthers are more in patience mode, not panic mode.
Oh, so they're not relying on Uncle Rico?
Wait, you're talking the Panthers?
Yeah, Rico Daddle, Uncle Rico. I don't know. I was just being funny. Or trying
Rico
too
was trying.
hard.
Well, no, I
Because
think you
Uncle
are trying. I
Rico is
think that
Gardner
wasn't.
Minshew.
Yeah, yeah. What I'm saying with the Panthers and patience is that it looks like they are. It's you've got Teteroa McMillan developing. You've got Teteroa McMillan developing. Leggett now trying to find his stride. Jatavian Sanders trying, and Bryce Young is still somewhat developing, and Dave Canales is getting somewhere in spite of the inconsistencies going on with Bryce Young under center. I think the Panthers, it's just be patient. It can find some way to work out. The Dolphins, on the other hand, they need to panic. They need to panic. And I am gonna say that I think the Dolphins need a new voice at the head of the locker room. Yeah, I'm calling for it right now.
I mean, I
Mike
don't blame you
McDaniel.
for thinking so. That whole team has just been throwing up signs for a while. You know, Tua could tell you that from experience.
I mean, Mike McDaniel, in trying to justify the Tua Tagovailoa concussions on top of that,
Well,
and not really doing a great job of
it's
protecting player,
because I'm a
I'm
damn
waving a
nerd.
red flag. I'm waving red flag.
I mean,
That is a complete red flag.
Bobby Tarantino was a complete red flag before he became what Logic was.
You realize both of those two personas are the same person.
Yes, thanks for killing my joke, Spenisk. Ah.
But then also consider that young Sinatra is also in that same vein as well.
Alright, Spenis. Thanks for being
Okay.
no shit Sherlock for the week.
All right. The next one here that I have is the Titans defeating the Cardinals 22-21. Did you see how the Titans got ahead, or the touchdown that ultimately shifted the momentum to get the Titans ahead?
Yeah.
That is the most bizarre sequence of events that I have seen before in my life. So what happens on the actual play? Cam Ward gets pass picked off. Arizona Cardinals player tries to get somewhere, run it back, falls, like after a football move, loses the ball. Loses the ball. The ball gets kind of kicked around. Tyler Lockett falls on it. Touchdown Titans. Although it eventually needed a Joey Sly field goal to win it, but that is the weirdest shift of momentum in football I've seen in a while.
Tell me about it.
And I'm going to say this. It almost hit the that's not on my bingo card. I did not have a game defining itself by that on my bingo card.
Tell me about it. Keep going.
The next game I have, Commanders 27, Chargers 10. Although my take for the Commanders side is that this is Bill's backfield now. That being Ja'Cory Bill Krosky Merritt.
Knew you were gonna
But
pull
I'm
that
gonna
rabbit
say
out of the
that-
hat because he is doing good.
Well, and his actual nickname in this case that even he says he prefers to go by at times is Bill.
Boo! Boo! Boo!
But-
Boo! Boo!
Yeah. Yep. And that's exactly how the chant goes in DC. But I do believe that both the Commanders and Chargers are playoff contenders. But I believe that this matchup is more defined by the mistakes the Chargers made than what Washington executed well. The 15-yard roughing the kicker penalty on Tress Way in the back of the end zone to give Washington a first down and put them in position to have the game, to pretty much get Washington in. I believe it was into the half tied. Was either tied at the half? Double checking the order here of when that occurred on the play-by-play. It was the one that ultimately set up the game-winning or the game-tying field goal, where Tress Way punted the ball. Ladd McConkey returns the punt back for a touchdown, and the touchdown was called back on roughing the kicker. So that could have given the Chargers all the momentum, and a roughing the kicker penalty hurt them. And then of course the interception from Justin Herbert right to Mike Sanders still from the 2-yard line, but that pass was also tipped. So the Commanders did a great job of giving themselves momentum, but I think the Chargers' mistakes, especially costly penalties, were what hurt them the most.
Yeah.
The last 4 o'clock game before we get to your Stephon Diggs revenge game here.
All right.
Bucks
Make it quick.
38, Seahawks 35. And I am going to tell you right now, this game was amazing to watch the finish of. It was a great game with a lot of potential for more. I think the stakes on this one could get even better because Darnold looked great. Darnold has looked great in that Clint Kubiak offense. Baker Mayfield has been really coming into his own. But the biggest mistake Seattle made in this game was leaving Baker Mayfield too much time on the clock to orchestrate crucial drives to put pressure on. We have now said that at least a minute to a minute and a half over the previous games that Baker Mayfield and the Bucs have won, that even that was too much. Seattle left nearly double the time. Plain and simple. That's too much time to leave for Baker Mayfield to win a game. And that is why the Buccaneers are where they are. Because Baker Mayfield has been showing it.
Alright, you ready for me to finally talk about...
Yep.
Alright, cool.
Yep.
So, the Patriots on Sunday Night Football beat the Bills. And it wasn't a standout victory where they just like clobbered them or anything like that, but the Patriots pulled what Buffalo pulled on the Chiefs a season ago. Granted, this happened earlier in the season. Drake May helped, but Stephon Diggs delivered in clutch situations. Sounds like Diggs had some bridges to burn after being his former team. And I don't blame him, because there have been other players that have acted that certain way over other teams too. Like when Kareem Hunt got dropped off to Cleveland, and then Cleveland picked him up, and then he scored a touchdown on us. That happened at one point. I think that was during the wild card game too of that. But like Diggs, he had been burned twice in the matter seasons when the Chiefs beat them both times. The first time it was at Arrowhead, and then I think the second time it was at Highmark. Other than that, that's all I have to say is Stephon Diggs had his revenge on Buffalo, because he's now with the Patriots.
All right. And last but not least, the Monday night game. The Jacksonville Jaguars defeat the Kansas City Chiefs 31-28 off a rumbling, stumbling, bumbling run from Trevor Lawrence.
Yeah,
yes,
once I saw that,
the literal stumble bomb.
Dude, literally, when I saw that, I was like, okay, yeah, there's no way the Chiefs are coming back from this. Like, even with 20 seconds left, like, good freaking luck. I was just like, eh. Like, if we gave up a pick six and then had to compensate for it by actually getting a touchdown that we could have gotten earlier, that probably tells you all you need to know about the next drive.
My take is about the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars look legit. They look like a very for real team. But they are approaching a mid-season gauntlet with the Seahawks, Rams, and Chargers along with the Texans among their next 5 games. And this section right here, this mid-season gauntlet, will determine if they are a playoff contender or on the outside looking in. There's something going on that very well defensively in Duval that is just working. Devin Lloyd leads the league in interceptions, and he's a linebacker.
Yeah, that's insane.
Yeah, including taking that 99-yarder to the crib.
Yeah,
by the way, Ruckus,
I about cried myself awake. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yep. Heads up, I added another game to it for the film room, of which we will get into right here, right now. And heading into this week of predictions in the film room, it is still an 8-point game between Ruckus and I. And the first game we have, Ohio State, Illinois.
I'm going the Ohio State University. Go Buckeyes.
Yep. O-H-I-O.
I-O.
Ohio State. Alabama versus Mizzou.
Since I now live in Missouri, I might as well pay the tax of being a Missouri resident. Go Mizzou!
Give me Alabama. Roll Tide. I'm taking Alabama.
Yay, hurricanes for you. More like thunderstorms for
And
me.
and for 2 points, Indiana versus Oregon.
Quack, quack,
Quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack,
quack.
quack.
We're taking the
quack.
We are taking the Oregon Ducks over the Indiana Pacers. And now to the NFL. 5 games on the docket. Cardinals, Colts.
I'm gonna pick the Colts, even though I totally shat on Indiana Jones earlier, but I think he has a better chance over Kyler Murray. Time will tell, though.
I don't think we've initially found the Temple of Doom for Daniel Jones yet, even though he just took out the Raiders of the Lost Ark last week.
Foreshadowing.
Or should I say the Raiders of Lost Vegas?
Alright, the room is over there, and you should go over.
But I am taking Indiana Jones here. This is not going to be his last crusade. I'm taking the Colts. Cowboys versus Panthers.
You know, I have no faith in the league anymore, so I'm picking the Panthers over the Cowboys. If the Cowboys win, I don't promise anything. I just feel like they won't win, but if they do, I would be shocked.
So this is out of principle, not out of football. I'm taking the Panthers. Seahawks, Jaguars. This is probably one of the best games we're going to have all week.
I'm picking the Jaguars because if they can pull a Houdini like they did last week, which that Houdini was on the Chiefs, not on Magic in general. Like, the Chiefs kind of rubbed or tried to rub some dirt on it, but then the play got infected, so there you go. Anyways, so now we will move on to 49ers Bucks.
Hold up. I haven't gone yet. And I got a little bit of a lesson for you. Say it with me here. Duval. I am
Let's
taking
move
the Jaguars.
on.
49ers Bucks.
I picked the 49ers because at this point, if I don't pick them, then I'm just a loser because for some reason they're winners, even though most of the time they probably could have been losers, but here we are. That's the reality we live in.
I'm sorry. I'm taking this quarterback that has been an absolute dog all season. Has shown that it doesn't matter how much time is left on that clock. That he is going to find a way to come through and win this football game. I'm taking the Bucks.
Bonesaw is ready. That's all I think about with Baker Mayfield anymore.
Commanders Bears Monday Night Football.
I'm taking the Commanders because the Bears, like, they've still got a long ways to go, but the Commanders have a better foot forward with how Coach Quinn has done.
I mean, DQ's been great. Cliff has got this team running the football well. Jaden Daniels is back. Granted, still with a knee brace, but he's back.
So is Juju. His girlfriend.
Not the point I was trying to make, but left hand up, Commanders taking the win. And I'm really gonna say at this point, especially if we get Terry back in time for it, we want Dallas.
Honestly, you want Dallas now rather than ever because Scary Terry is more scared at himself when it comes to injuries in his career.
Well, no, but I'm saying that Terry is actually a really effective number one wide receiver, and I'm saying we want Dallas. All right.
What, 2
1
years
minute
ago?
left. No, I'm saying right now. Get him back, have the quad recover. Take the time getting the quad recover because we played Dallas so late in the season that by the time we have an opportunity to get him back, we really want Dallas. Here we go. 1 minute left. It's time for the final sprint. The Bengals have traded for Joe Flacco. Do we think this is a good deal or a bad deal?
I mean, if anything, it benefits the Bengals right now because Jake Browning can't do it all himself as the quarterback for the Bengals, especially because Joe Burrow is injury prone. But Joe Flacco has shown from seasons ago that he is still a quarterback that could definitely help kickstart you into the playoffs. He won't necessarily get you to the Super Bowl, but he definitely helps you as a backup, and that's what you kind of want right now because Joe Burrow's going to be out for probably another month and a half of the season.
Dylan Gabriel throwing for 190 yards, 2 touchdowns, no picks in his NFL debut despite the loss. I'm going to say this, not bad for a rookie debut. And Battlefield 6 releases this Friday. Are we picking it up?
All right, so number 1, Dylan Gabriel, a solid week for him with the Browns. I mean, it wasn't really probably in his best interest to get picked by the Browns in the first place because they picked a lot more than what they were gunning for. They had Kenny Pickett at the start, they had Dylan Gabriel, they had Shadur Sanders, which they still have. They had Joe Flacco, and that was it. And now they have just Shadur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, and probably some other guy that they signed to the practice squad that no one really hears about. But they had like a loaded quarterback room, and they decided to just like thin it down even more. But we'll see what happens with the Joe Flacco trade. I think it's probably okay, but it's just kind of a weird thing because he's so old to where it's like, where do you put that value? But for Dylan Gabriel, good for him. Battlefield 6, I'm ready for, and I'm still contemplating whether or not I am going to take the day off of work or just play it when I get home. I'll probably just play it when I get home, because if anything, if it's like not even functional at like the start of the morning, it's not even, there's no point to like take the day off for that.
I am not picking it up because it is sandwiched right between 2 releases for me. And that is going to do it for episode number 157 of the Ruckus and the Menace podcast. I'm Menace and Menace.
And I'm Ruckus, always causing a ruckus, and we'll see you guys next time. Deuces.
Hugs and hand pounds, everybody.